Thank you. Welcome again. My name is Daniel Chinagozi. Now I'm going to be looking at a very important part of every business plan. As an entrepreneur, when you are working on a business plan, don't think that everything is going to be rosy, because that's where people fail from the beginning. First of all, have this feeling: what are the business risks I am going to face as an entrepreneur? Now, why we're pointing out business risks is not such that you will run away from the business. No, we need you to be as truthful as possible with yourself. What are the business risks that you are going to face? They might be peculiar to your particular business, they might be peculiar to your location, they might be peculiar to your industry. If you're able to identify these business risks and then you move to the next level, you point out how am I going to mitigate, what mitigation steps will I take over this risk? Because if you're able to look at the business risk on your own and say, these are risk factors that I must face in this business, and then you're able to say, this is what I want to solve, this is what I want to solve, I bet you that you are closer to solving this problem than if the problem just appeared and you didn't plan for it. Number one, political. I'm going to mention key points that as you can see in the chapter 6 of the material of the workbook you have, you will see political risk. Okay, you will see economic risk. What are political risks? Let's say there is a change in government policy of a particular product that you depend. Let's say the raw material of a product you are producing, it comes from is purely by importation, and government changes the policy and says no more importation of this raw material. Now this is actually going to affect your business. What will you do in situations like that? You can think in terms of source local manufacturers of raw materials, look for a supplement of the raw material, something. There might be something. Or you are importing a product and you are assembling locally, and government stops the importation of unassembled parts. You can check whether the policy allows for you to import already assembled. You need to know what it is in particular. Okay, let's say government policy comes up with respect to increasing tax for a particular service of a particular product you do. What would you want to do? You need to think in terms of be as explicit as possible. Now, because you have just one space, political, I'm not saying you should point out only one political risk. No, be as explicit as possible. Is your business plan, you are going to own it. Write all political risks that might come up, and then write down how am I going to mitigate them one after the other. This point is good you brainstorm with one or two people, possibly in your industries. That's where mentorship comes with, that's where coaching comes. You can talk to any of your leaders, your PMOs, your PMGs, your business coach, to be able to get a sense of what to do in this aspect. Is very important. Now, the economy, what risk can the economy pose? Now, sometime in the past, there was a time the price of dollar went high, okay, and you notice that a lot of things changed. Now, what will you do in times like that? I had there were some of my clients that decided to stop selling a particular product pending when dollar came down, because they won't be able to buy if they sold out all their products or services. So you need to know, what should I do in this? If you're able to identify what are the possible risks or possible challenges that you will face associated to your particular business, there's nothing general, it's particular to certain businesses. Write down what to do to mitigate it. Do the same thing for social, do the same thing for technology, for environmental factors, for legal factors. Now, business specific risks, there are other business specific risks. Okay, for example, the risk of explosion for someone that does a gas plant. Now, what you need to do is you need to put appropriate safety measures to ensure that this doesn't work. The risk of pilferage, when it comes to people that do businesses that has to do with stocking, you need to put appropriate inventory and security measures to ensure that theft, pilferage is sorted out, the issue of injury is sorted out. The issue of seasonality, if your product is dependent on a raw material that is that is seasonal, you need to deal with the issue of storage so that you're able to handle these things appropriately, because if you are not able to deal with it now, it will definitely affect how you're going to do this. It's very important you do this. Now, after you have done this risk identification, it's also possible you look inward, because the entrepreneur is the key person in the business. You need to look inward. How do we look inward here? You just carry out a simple analysis. If you check the page 16 of your document you have, you see your strength and SWOT analysis, your strength, your weakness, your opportunities, and your threats. Your strengths are the internal skills or internal strengths or internal advantages you have that will provide an advantage for your business. Feel free to talk about your strengths. Feel free to write as many strengths as possible. I want to say the minimum strength you should write here is 4 to 5. The same thing with weaknesses. What disadvantages do I have that will bring a disadvantage to this business? Possibly a skill I don't possess, or a skill that is expensive to get, or something I don't have. You're able to identify this appropriately and write it down. The rule is write it down. Don't just think it, write it down, because documentation is key in this aspect. And then opportunity. What opportunities are there? What opportunities are available in my industry that I need to cash in on? Okay, maybe does improvement in technology, does it bring in more opportunities? Does a change in government bring in more opportunities? Does a season bring in more opportunities? You identify all these opportunities, be as exhaustive as you can, okay? And then look at threats. What are the threats I'm likely to face as a business person? What challenges can come? What things can delay me? What can distract us? What can kill our business? What things have possibility? It might be government policy, it might be something else you have identified in the risk factor that can actually also come as a threat to your business. Why you are doing this? So that you be truthful to yourself. There are threats that are as a result of your personality, so that you know how to minimize. The interest is to minimize your threat, minimize your weaknesses, increase your strength, assess and harness your opportunities, and then mitigate your threats. That is why we want you to carry out this analysis and from time to time do a personality test to check whether you are professionally suited for the business you want to do. That way you're able to get all that you require to do your business plan. I insist that you write down as many points as possible and get your leader to go through it to help you align in some of the areas you are out of place in this. And I believe if you're able to put in this time, you are going to come out with a serious bankable business plan that you can use at every level of endeavor. Thank you very much for listening to us once again. We are looking forward to having a great time with you in DBL. Thank you very much.